All right, so good evening again. My name is Robbie Goswami and my call sign 904 Romeo Golf. I'm located in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'd like to welcome the persons who have joined this Tech Talk session. Now, I don't want to mislead anyone to think that I'm somehow going to give a talk and that I'm somehow an expert to speak about anything in particular. So it's really the persons who have joined that's going to be contributors. Just trying to host a session to see if there's any interest in people who have a technical interest in amateur radio or radio communications in general to come together and say, hey, let's discuss topics, let's exchange some ideas. So depending on the participation this evening, depending on the participation or interest shown and requests made, we can always host further sessions. So it's really a round the table discussion. So I'm not somehow a chair or an expert or a lecturer or presenter or anything like that. Just really hosting and maybe advocating for such sessions with amateur radio operators in particular, but any radio communicator at all. So perhaps in terms of discussing, we could discuss either projects that we're currently working on that we would like to evangelize a little bit about and probably encourage other hams to participate, or just give a report on what we're doing. Maybe we can also look at any challenges that we may have, because we may have some subject matter experts in the audience that might be able to say, hey, I've actually solved that issue and point us in the right direction. And any general tips at all for hams or radio operators. Of course, we can segue either left or right of any particular topic. I don't know there's anything that's not in scope. So it's really just about us talking. So what I'll just ask, perhaps seeing that we just have a couple of persons that have joined, if we are not shy at all, I'll just ask for persons to introduce themselves, at least name and call sign and anything else that you would like to say, but at least name and call sign so that we get to know each other. So let me welcome everyone and thanks for joining. So anyone that would like to introduce themselves, feel free. Mic is yours.
Robbie, do you hear me?
Yeah, Rob, you're loud and clear.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Did you get my text message?
I did get one, I think.
No. Excuse me. From this event on
okay.
Tech Talk.
Okay, yeah. I'm seeing it. Okay, no problem. Got you.
Okay, just let you know. So, guys, I'm Rob. I'm KC7FBN or WRAJ462, or sometimes they call me Goofy. But anyway, I don't really have much to say. I'm just kind of listening. I would like to see more involvement of React using DMR. That's just my thing. And I'd also well, at the moment, that's, I guess, it. But I think it'd be fun to expand more on DMR for weather and potentially, well, I'm in the U.S., so potentially national connection on weather-related issues, particularly storms and snowstorms and hurricanes and all that. So that's just me, and it may never work, but that's just something I thought I'd bring up. Hope it didn't bore anyone. Hope I didn't offend anyone. Hope I didn't cause anyone to have a myocardial infarction or a headache. Hello. Anyway, now on a side note, I was talking to my vacuum cleaner this morning, and it wasn't working very well. And I told the vacuum cleaner that it sucked. Sorry.
Okay, Rob. All right. So really, I mean, humor injecting into something really changes the thing. So thanks a lot for the humor. And Rob, appreciate you introducing yourself. And yeah, noted in the US. Rob, just could you clarify what part of the US you're located at? Okay, so I know Rob is at work involved there, so I guess he will chime back in when he'll signal to us when he's able to just indicate his location. I think it's no, it's Florida, I think it is, but just to confirm, I guess when he comes back in there. All right, so that's Rob, KC7FBN, amateur radio operator and advocating for the use of DMR in weather, and I think he mentioned React as well, so that means he's a React member. So cool. All right, so who's up next? As an intro, I mean, as a minimum, just your name and call sign, probably location, and anything else. You know, it's an open floor really. So who's up next? Anyone?
Okay, Robbie. Dev go sign NY4 Delta Golf. Actually, right now I'm driving. So I just thought I'd check in here. So we'll listen for a little bit and should be getting to our location in a short while, within the next few minutes. So we'll be a little more attentive and be able to participate a little more. But just thought I'd just chime in here and follow your instructions by introducing myself. So back to you there, Rob.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dev. Appreciate you indicating your presence. Dev 9 Yankee for Delta Golf. And yes, Dev, I mean, we know you are a very experienced amateur radio operator and would probably have a lot to share as well. So thanks. I guess we will check back in with you when you're on base. All right, so that was 9 Yankee for Delta Golf. So who's up next for an introduction? Okay, so just all you need to do is just unmute your microphone and then you can go ahead with an introduction. Okay, let's see. I'm seeing 9 Zulu 3 Whiskey India Golf. I believe that's Wesley. Wesley, do you have audio? Yeah, not so sure if Wesley has audio. So let's, I'm also seeing Jeff, 9 Yankee for Juliet. Jeff, do you have audio? Okay, so not hearing any audio from Jeff, so I'm not too sure, and I see that Wesley has in fact dropped off the call. So Rob, I don't know if you're able to come back in now with your location.
Robbie, did you see the recent text I sent you on Tech Talk?
Okay, got you there now. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to do it. I might have to do it that way because I have people in here.
Understood. Not a problem. So
okay.
I'll be sure to keep the chat open there, Rob, and monitor. I have it open on the screen there now, so no problem.
Okay, thank you, sir. That just makes it easier. Yeah.
Sure. So you said Southeast.
How many people here? Let's see. Not too many.
No, and we had 2 persons dropped off as well. There was Wesley and there was another person, I think Alice. I think Alice and Wesley seem to.
Are they going to try to come back?
I'm not sure. I know sometimes persons may have technical difficulties with Zoom, especially if it's the first time they're using it. So I'm not sure, but we'll see. And in any case, this was really intended to be an initial intro session. And we do have a Zellonet at 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. for me will be the hard stop. I mean, if we had a lot of people in, I'd be happy to, you know, just step away and let the Zoom session run. But I'm assuming that we're not going to get a lot of people now. Actually, I got a few people who texted me and said, now is not a convenient time at all. So we'll just go with the time that we have discussed. And if we're up early, that's fine as well. So no problem there. So Rob, as you have the mic, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say before I give my little blurb.
No, I really don't have anything else to say. I don't know if I have to keep my thumb out of the camera. Anyway, I don't know if people are interested in this, but there's an international net on Broadmaster Talk Group 91 at 11 a.m. Atlantic time. Hold on just a second. Hi, are you Megan?
Okay, so while we're waiting for Rob to chime back in, let me just see, Jeff, if 9 Yankee for Juliet, do you have audio there yet, Jeff?
Yeah, Robbie, Jeff, 9Y4J, Port of Spain, Trinidad. I was trying to unmute the mic there, but it's having some problems doing so. So that's why I couldn't come in earlier.
Yeah, well, you seem to have gotten it there, Jeff, and sounded loud and clear as well. So glad to have you inside. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so, all right, I'm not seeing Wesley back on, so I guess he may have had challenges, or as well as Alice. So let's just, let's let go in, and if anyone comes in any case, my hard stop is at 9, and depending on the participation, we could finish a little earlier as well. So Rob, I don't know if you back up as yet.
Yeah, I'm still here, and please forgive me again. I'm doing my job. I was mentioning, for those who may have an interest in this, I was doing it for a little while, a couple Saturdays, and I got really tired of it. But for those who may want to do it, who may have DMR, on Talk Group 91, Brandmaster 91 Talk Group, it's an international talk group. They have a international net, and they literally go country by country all the way around the world and do a check-in for people who want to do that. And I don't know what part of the I know for me, I'm among the last people to check in, because they do America last, and 7 call is way up there in terms of who's last. You know, my amateur call. But they do it to illustrate how DMR has the potential to be helpful in time of disaster. So that's what I brought up, only because React is about disaster stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Rob. So agreed. DMR has really presented a lot of opportunities as well for communication globally, and you know, the rise and just the quantity of hotspots. When you look at the Brandmeister dashboard, it's really encouraging in terms of the expanse and the expansion. Apart from the repeaters, the traditional repeaters that connected to Brandmeister, and of course the other networks like TGIF, Quadnet, and the others as well. Really an explosion, literally, amongst the digital voice modes. So yeah, pretty good there, Rob. Thanks a lot. So you said 11 a.m. on Talk Group 91, and that's 11 a.m. which time zone?
Atlantic, okay, Eastern United States. You know, I don't remember the UTC on that, but I'm sure people can track the UTC down and put that information up if they want to.
Yeah,
1600 UTC. It's 1600 UTC. There, Robbie.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dev. 1600 UTC. Fantastic. Okay, cool. All right. I'm seeing Paula online as well. Good evening to you, Paula, and welcome. Don't know if you want to introduce yourself, call sign and location.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Robbie, for picking up that I was online. The name is Paula Granado. My call sign is the REAC 266. I'm a member of St. George County REAC, team 4928. And just joining out of interest. Might not have too much contribution, but just want to hear what's happening.
Thanks very much, dear Paula, for coming in and joining with us. Yeah, so this is really to spur on an interest, if it is that radio communicators, whether amateur radio operators or otherwise, would have an interest in coming together via the Zoom platform and sharing information, maybe projects that we're working on, any problems that we may have, others may be able to assist in solving, and just, you know, exchanging technical information. And there's a lot of leeway in that. So there's no big script in terms of what the intention is to discuss. But depending on interests shown this evening, as well as other interests that might be expressed, we would certainly want to continue from time to time. What is already apparent is that 8 p.m. Trinidad and Tobago time or 7 p.m. Eastern time is not necessarily a good time for persons to come up, at least the ones who have responded. I did get quite a few text messages saying, hey, Robbie, this is not a suitable time. We have other things, other meetings. Like today, I know at least 2 teams are having meetings tonight at the same time. And I just did put it together pretty quickly earlier today, just to see if there's interest. So we may shift to some daytime sessions, maybe Friday sessions, mix it up a little bit to see who might have an interest and come together. So it will be very ad hoc until such time, maybe if it becomes something a little more formal. So Paula, just to give you a little background to the session, not super structured in that sense. It's really just a format, but with a talk shop. So hence the suggested name, Tech Talk. So I know you're a trainer yourself and would have other information that you could bring to the table. So feel free to chime on in anything relevant. I mean, you do already share a lot via WhatsApp and Facebook and other means. So I don't think there's any topic that is too much out of scope, as long as it's somehow in relation to radio communications, emergency management even, and so on. Yeah?
Yes, thank you, Robbie. I know members of our technical team from my St. George County REAC team this afternoon were at the Savannah reinstalling an antenna that had sort of bowed because of high winds at the Savannah. So they may be a little tired at this point in time. We also had our team meeting this afternoon at 4. So a couple of people may not be available now. But we certainly listen with interest, and where we can putting our 2 cents, we'll do so.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Paula. And also for me, 9 p.m. would have been a hard stop because we have the ZalloNet that comes up at that time. But of course, if there were persons that wanted to go beyond 9 p.m., I could just leave the Zoom up and can continue. But I don't think we're going to have many persons. And you're right, Paula, I did get, Glenn told me, Carlton told me, I think, I guess Kaz and a couple of the, those are really strong technical people, and they were all interested, except that the timing would not have worked. But I said, rather than cancel, you know, just fire up the Zoom, see who's able to come on, who has time. I mean, I see Rob there is at work as well. And I'm so grateful that notwithstanding work, you know, Rob, you're still there, Davy on the road, and Jeff. I mean, great to have, we did have a couple other persons early on, and not sure why they may have dropped off, either not interested or probably they were having technical issues. So, I mean, even what we have said so far, I think is encouraging. You know, just, you know, a couple of persons coming on and having a little chat. So that's cool. So I think we have had introductions from everyone who's on the call. And my little blurb, just wanted to talk about, to introduce for those who may not be aware, I suspect most of the persons here on now might be aware, is what is called Hamshack Hotline. And Hamshack Hotline, really, there's a website, hamshackhotline.com. It's essentially a telephone service for amateur radio operators. You have to have an amateur radio call sign. However, it's a free service. All you need to do is either use a smartphone or computer with a soft SIP client, or you can get a hardline phone, SIP phone, such as one of the Cisco recommended phones. And basically, if that phone is on your desk or you have your cell phone with the SIP client, you're connecting to a back-end private branch exchange or PBX system similar to offices, where you have a trunk line and you also have extensions. So those phones are essentially extensions off of a global PBX. The PBX is hosted in the cloud or on the internet. So it is a form of back-channel communications for hams as well. It certainly doesn't replace RF. It certainly doesn't replace VHF, UHF, EHF, the traditional forms of communication and the various modes. But just to make sure that persons are aware of the service, it's free to join, free in the sense that you don't have to pay a subscription. Where the cost might be is if you decide to acquire a hardline phone, that phone will essentially plug into an Ethernet connection, or if the phone that you have is Wi-Fi, it connects. That's the hardline phone, or the traditional device that you'll have as a phone line at home. But you can certainly use the soft phone, which is really an app that you can download and configure to connect to Ham Shack hotline. You will get an extension assigned to you depending on the mode and your location. So there's Ham Shack hotline US, there's Ham Shack hotline Asia Pacific, there's Ham Shack hotline Europe or EU, and so on. So that extension or numbering plan will be based on which network you join. And there's also even Ham Shack hotline experimental, which is where the soft phones go on to. Of course, the Ham Shack hotline people have said they would really like to get more persons with hardline phones on the network. However, all are welcome to join. So you can check out further information on their website, hamshackhotline.com. There's also a map that shows the deployment of Ham Shack hotline phones throughout the world. So you can see the extensions, the extension number, the call signs. Again, you do have to be an amateur radio operator to join the service and get an extension on the system. However, just to bear in mind as well, the Ham Shack hotline people do encourage EOCs in particular to deploy phones, but of course it has to be under the auspices of a licensed amateur radio operator. But they would like to see more emergency operation centers with these Ham Shack hotline phones. Again, the idea, it's a back channel form of communications for amateur radio operators. You may be on a VHF channel or a talk group, or you may be on HF and you have a net going, but you just want to get onto a ham, you just pick up the phone and dial once they're also on Ham Shack hotline. So in that sense, it's a back channel. There are conference bridges that you can dial and like a party line, join several calls together and people can talk. And there are also other radio services you can dial up and listen to weather, you can listen to other broadcasts and so on, amateur radio related. And believe it or not, and I saved this for last, you can actually dial up a Brandmeister DMR talk group, listen and transmit. So you have a PTT function. So it's really interesting and it's amazing just how many persons have not heard of it as yet. So just thought I said, here's what my blurb for tonight will be, to just mention Ham Shack hotline for persons to consider and look into. And it doesn't have to cost you anything. You probably already have what's required. So you don't necessarily have to buy a phone or get a phone. Speaking of phones or the handsets, most of them are available used. So the prices that you can get, 35 US, 40 US or up for the Cisco SIP phones like the 525Gs may run, 525G2s may run at 60 US. And you have the sidecars that you can get, all sorts of other options. Some of those phones also have Wi-Fi, so you don't have to physically plug into a router or use an Ethernet cable. However, hamshackhotline.com has a lot more detail than I'll be able to share in the limited time that we have this evening. If there's an interest again in further talks, we can actually maybe do a presentation I know a couple of the persons online. I know Dev for sure is already on Hampshire Hotline and has been on for quite a long time. Actually, Dev is one of the pioneers in Trinidad and Tobago as far as the technology side of amateur radio goes. And I guess when he comes in, he can always talk about his interests. Throughout the Caribbean, which is the area that I guess I'm from, we have been advocating, evangelizing that because the Caribbean is hurricane prone, we have been trying to get amateurs in all islands. And this is really an initiative of the Hampshire Hotline guys. It said, you know, it would be nice to have every territory with a Hampshire Hotline phone and certainly one in every EOC. Again, it's a back channel form of communication. You just pick up the phone, dial an extension, and there you go. You can have a conversation, or you have conference bridges that you can dial in and join the conversation together and discuss outside of the traditional form of communication. So again, some persons will ask, you know, how is that ham radio? How is that amateur radio? And of course, some of us will say, well, it's fair game. It's just another tool in the toolkit. So that's my little blurb about Hampshire Hotline and the website hampshirehotline.com. And I'll type it in the chat box in a little bit, just in case anyone would like to look it up. It's hampshirehotline.com. And you can feel free to check it out. So that's my little bit of contribution to Tech Talk. So I don't know if Dev is back on base as yet. I don't know if Rob has anything further, or Jeff, if you wanted to share anything, or Paula. So the floor is open for anyone who would have any questions or even contributions or anything at all to say. Just unmute the microphone and go on ahead. All right, so I don't know, maybe Jeff, if I can pick on you a little bit, if I know Rob is on a call there and Dev is probably still driving. Paul, I'll come to you shortly and maybe see if you can contribute to the discussion. Jeff, anything that you'd like to talk about? Any projects that you're working, any challenges that you have, any words of wisdom that you'd like to share, Jeff?
Oh, okay. Thanks, Robbie. 9Y4J. Actually, when I got the invitation for this forum this evening, I thought it was the follow-up to the earlier initiative, which I did not respond to, where you're asking me to sit in and help with the moderating of a certain topic. So I thought it was this one actually. But in any event, you can call me sometime, maybe tomorrow, and we could follow up on that. I just thought that this was, so that is why I thought it was related, you know. But I'm still available to contribute to that aspect of things. So we can always talk on that. All right.
Yeah, sounds good, Jeff, and I appreciate that very much. So, so what Jeff is referring to, so many persons here may be familiar with the call for papers that we issued for an upcoming virtual training program, or a couple of them really, series of virtual training sessions. And there are many persons, sometimes you don't think you have the expertise, or some know they have expertise, some are professional teachers, but we can all learn from each other. So it's really an opportunity for persons to contribute. And I can put the link as well inside of here for persons who are interested. It's the call for papers for anyone to indicate their interest in presenting any of the topics that we have listed, or even any topics that we may not have listed that a person may have expertise in and would like to contribute to teaching or sharing information with others. So thanks a lot for mentioning that there, Jeff. Jeff, I don't know if you wanted to, if there's any other words of wisdom, anything that you'd like to share about what's happening with amateur radio, what you're doing right now, any challenges that you may have, or anything at all in relation to amateur radio.
All right. I am not as active as I was a few years ago. You know, the challenge I'm having here, especially at HF. In addition to which, I'm involved with some entities there, which keep me pretty busy on Zoom. And Microsoft Teams. But my radio time is curtailed somewhat because I'm still a traditionalist in the context of my modes, you know. But hopefully we'll get that issue resolved. We are quite aware of it. And Greg called me. He's getting, his situation has been exacerbated as well. I guess you may be also affected negatively. So I haven't, since that exercise when you passed by, I haven't heard from the authorities. So I don't know what is happening.
Yeah, indeed, it'll be great to sort that out because I know as one of the net controllers for the Hummingbird net, and for those who may not be aware, the Hummingbird net is a net that is handled under the auspices of the Trinidad and Tobago Amateur Radio Society, that's TITAS. And I'm not sure offhand how long that net, or when it started, but I think it's several decades in production. And the frequency that net has been on is 7.159 megahertz, of course, lower sideband. And that net would have been a daily net on an afternoon, and on a Sunday, I think it was twice per day, in the morning and also the afternoon period. So as a net control operator, and we thank you for your service as well, Jeff. I mean, I know when I became a ham, you were doing the net, and up until this particular interference challenge, you continued. So really human service to the amateur radio community there, Jeff. All right, so let me see, Dev, if it is that you are back on base as yet, anything that you'd like to contribute at this time?
Okay, Robbie. Sorry, there's no packing up. Just give me 2 more minutes, so I'll be back with you there. I'll be over.
One second. Yeah, okay, Dev, got you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. That's actually my mom. So usually when I'm in conference and so on, I usually don't take any calls, but my mom is priority. I drop pretty much everything for her, even if I'm at work as well. So, you know, yeah, Dev, thanks. Sorry about that, Dev, and sorry about my pause, folks. My mom just called and I got you there, Dev, in a couple of minutes. So that's fine as well. So Paula, I don't know if there's any words of wisdom, anything that you would like to share with us that you would like to contribute at this time, Paula?
Not particularly from, well, of course, I'm not an amateur radio operator, but I know over the years when I've been looking at radios for emergency or radio systems for emergency, there was a particular system that I came across. I cannot remember the name of the manufacturers at this time, but it was a kit that carried with it. You actually had to order it because they built it like a computer. You had to know how many slots you wanted depending on what was the what you needed within your kit, and that kit would have included landlines, SIM cards for cell phones, and two-way radio, and I cannot remember if it contained anything else. And I haven't been seeing it. It appeared to be a development specifically for radio emergency communications. I don't know if you all have any knowledge of that system, but my particular interest in radio communications is from emergency management standpoint.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Paula. So I'm not immediately certain which of the solutions that might have been. So I don't know if anyone else on the call knows. The only thing I was thinking of was the FirstNet solution, but I'm not sure if that is aligned with what the description that you would have provided. But FirstNet might be a similar for emergencies. It uses a SIM card. I know in the US, certainly React has a contract with FirstNet, and you can get a subsidized price for a cell phone and what they refer to as the black SIM, why they call it a black SIM. It's when you look at it, it's, I mean, a black SIM is not very common, and that color indicates that that SIM on the network in question, I think it was built by AT&T, prioritizes traffic. So yeah, and I'm seeing Rob shaking. So you basically, as an emergency or first responder, is given the priority on the cellular network. So you wouldn't get a busy tour. You're not likely to get busy, and people can reach you. So it's a highly prioritized. So, well, I'm not sure if that is what you might have been referring to, but FirstNet is the closest that I can think of. So I don't know if anyone else might know of the system. And meanwhile, I'd like to welcome, I'm seeing two persons. I think David is online, and I think I'm seeing Arnold. So could I probably ask you guys to introduce yourselves, just name and call sign. So David, welcome.
Yeah, Abby. Good night to you. Good night to all on the platform. Yeah, my name is David Alexander. My call sign is React 507. And my amateur call sign is 9 Zulu 4 Delta Alpha Alpha. Over.
Thanks a lot, David, and welcome. I'm really, really glad you could join us as well. So, so this is actually encouraging folks, you know, a couple more persons that I thought, you know, I thought when we fired up, we'll get like 2-3 people, but I mean, really good participation. So I'm already encouraged, and we will certainly be trying to host further sessions. Thanks and welcome on board there, David. And of course, Arnold, good evening and welcome. If you can introduce yourself, please. Although maybe to many of us, you don't need introductions, but if you would, please. Okay, the only thing is I'm not seeing one audio device from Arnold. I'm not sure why. So sorry about that, Arnold. I'm not sure if you need to drop off and drop back on, or I'm not sure if you're using a mobile device. Sometimes the challenge with Zoom on mobile devices, if we don't give the operating system the permission, it will not detect the audio device, the audio input device. So Arnold, if possible, and you can take a look at that. But great to have you as well. And of course, quite a few really technical minds on this session. And I know we can learn a lot from everyone. So David, as you're here, we started a little while ago, and you know, we're just saying that this is a platform that we can leverage going forward if persons have an interest in technical discussions using Zoom. I know sometimes we use our nets or maybe just regular talk groups discussion for technical stuff. But sometimes it's cool to have this Zoom platform or virtual meeting platform as an opportunity to exchange information. So David, I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to share in terms of what amateur radio experiments you might be doing either now or not too long ago, or any challenges that you might be having in amateur radio, or any words of wisdom or anything that you would like to say, David. I could ask you to just say a few words, anything at all that you would like to say to us.
Well, I just reached in the shack and I was trying on the phone a little while, all the time coming up the road. But I don't know why I didn't connect. But nevertheless, well, amateur equipment and experiment, we up in the Brazil area these days, where we build a little shack up here. So I still having a little problem on this side to get proper like piping and a little assistance to get my thing up on the side to get the antenna. But nevertheless, hopefully next week I should get a van to use maybe for the weekend, and I'll try and see if I could get my pipe cable and antenna up on this side. Because right now we just have a little mobile antenna in the house, and that we're using right now. Otherwise, we're using the Echo Link on our computer and the as they say, well, other means of communication on my laptop and also on my phone. All right. So maybe later down in the future we'll see what will take place and how we could be a little more manageable and better to be on the air maybe a little more often. All right.
Sounds good, David. And I know how it is when you're relocating and you have that challenge to put up equipment and the time that it takes. But I know you are certainly capable as well. And just one thing you mentioned, the Echolink and so on. I think you're also a Droidster user, yes?
Yes, QSL and Ade Robbie, but I don't know why we're not getting connected to DMR, because every time I try, they say no access. So I maybe have to send an email to radio.id and find out what is the problem. Over.
Okay. Have you tried the PC version as well, just to see if there's a difference? I know I haven't really been playing around with either of the two fairly recently, but I know when they first came out, there were some little differences between the two. I know Dev, I think, has a lot of experience, so he might be able to indicate where to look. He might maybe have already solved that issue as well. But David, I was just wondering if you try the PC version Dude Star.
All right, we have it on our computer, but we ain't tried it yet. This laptop we having a little problem with it, but nevertheless, hopefully by next week I will get through with it and maybe on the air with that do stuff. But with DMR radio is not working because, as I say, they say on 91 we're not getting through, and every time I try to make a contact, they say access denied. So as I say, I will have to try and send an email to radio.id and find out what is the problem, because every time they say I need to get a new ID, I don't know why.
Okay.
Comment.
Okay, yeah, so Dev, it seems as though, and well, just in time, because here we have an issue with David, and over to you, Dev.
Yeah, you okay there, Robbie? Good night to all. Good night, Arnold. Good night, David, Paula, and the rest of the gang who is here. Let me just take it in chronological order. When Bob was talking about the the DMR and all that sort of stuff, I thought the 991 and 91 alpha was a shack in a box, for HF and VHF and for voice communication, or what some people call real radio. But Droidster and Dudester is also a shack in a box for all the digital voice modes, I was listening to Paula, and when I heard that, the computer thing with stuff for emergency, I know a lot of people use the computer or a desktop computer and some of the larger ones to mount a Go kit because of the bays that are intrinsically installed in these desktops. So you put a number of radios, a number of devices in there. So when it's time for the emergency, you just pick up one device and you have all your stuff in there. So I'm not too sure if, and as a matter of fact, the power supply in the computer could also be modified to provide some good power to the equipment. So I'm not too sure if that is what she was probably referring to. And getting to David's problem, David, and with your permission there, Robbie, if you don't mind me just asking him some questions directly.
No problem at all, Dev.
All right, great. David, have you Bright Van Meister, I think from sometime in December, from the 3rd of December or the 4th of December, somewhere around that time, you had to have a hotspot password. Now, previously, the password was PASSW0RD, all lowercase, except, of course, 0. But now you must set up a hotspot password. So what I would suggest you do, if you're using DroidStar, scroll down, go to select DMR, and on host, scroll down to tgif.network. It's just above all the XRF reflectors. So scroll down to tgif.network, and there's a very, very good talk group in there. Really, really good. Talk group 23426. And Robbie, that's really a DMR plus talk group. But you're the TGIF network, talk group 23426. It's actually linked to a network called Freestar. And if you do that tomorrow on Sunday, they have quite a lot of activities. As a matter of fact, they have an international RAG2net at 1600 Zulu. They have a number of nets. As a matter of fact, when this Tech Talk started, there was a net that was just ending on 23426. So if you're trying it out too, Robbie, it's the DMR, you're selecting DMR on DroidStar, and on the host, you look for tgif.network, and on the TG, you type in 23426. And, I have one of my devices parked up there almost permanently, So to answer David's question, David, let me ask you the question now. Did you ever change the password, and you had to do it on Brandmeister? You have to must change that password from password to your own private hotspot password. So the question, David, did you ever change that password? Back to you, David.
All right, permission through the chair. Yes, Uncle Dev, I had changed the password. I put my own password, and it was working. And all on a sudden, I and Calmet was talking maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and all on a sudden, I just drop off, and he say he not hearing me, and I tell him I not hearing him. We end up on Peanuts, where we was doing our communication, there, talking, and he say, boy, I end up getting the same thing like you. So that is my position right now, Uncle Dev.
All right. Okay. So that's with Brandmeister. So that's why I ask you to now try. It could be a problem with Brandmeister. I know Brandmeister had some issues, just like YSF and America Link and so on. But I know Brandmeister had some connectivity issues and whatnot within the last 2 weeks. So that is why I ask you a plan B to make sure that the DMR section is working. Now, in the DMR section, when you're setting up the TGIF network, you'll have to change back that password. Do not use your Brandmeister password. Use the regular password with a 0, PASSW0RD for the TGIF network. Do not use your Brandmeister password there. So try it out. Maybe after this net, you could probably try it out. I don't hear any traffic on there. Yes, I just hear some traffic coming up on that channel. So 23426. So try it out, see if you hear anything there, and let me know. If not, you could probably try on the TGF network 31665. The guy who set up the TGF network, Robert, he is always there chatting on 31665 on the TGF network. There, David. Over. Back to you.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Okay, if I have the 2 numbers, so maybe after the meeting here, I will try it, because I ain't going to sleep right now. Might be up for a little while. All right, then. Well, as I say, if I get through, I'll let you know. Over.
Yeah, right. Okay. And if push comes to shove, what I'll do, I'll switch across to one of the devices here, the P.969, on our DV Caribbean link. So I'll list out a 969 for you on Peanut. So if you want to do some tests, you could certainly be around to do that test with you there, David. And if you want to, I think 969 should be working also on the TGIF network. It's not linked. I think the link is down, so we could probably check that. But we'll try 969 on Peanut first, if you want after the net, and we'll take it from there, David. We'll coordinate from TGF 969 on Peanut first. Over.
Yeah, Roger. All right, no problem. Take care. We'll hand it over back to the chairperson and we'll be monitoring.
Yeah, well, that excellent exchange there of information. I see we all learned something from challenge to potential solutions and then the help. So this, I think, is the kind of thing that sometimes we need a platform like this. So I think that's the spirit and the idea, guys. I think you're developing, something that maybe we can leverage going forward. So I will check those, that particular talk group out that you mentioned there, Dev, I will check that out as well. So sounds good. So we're getting up to about 6 minutes to 9, and my hard stop is at 9 p.m. So I don't see Arnold having any audio. So I suspect, Arnold, you are just listening and we just want to say hello or say a shout out to you. Probably the next time we would have audio from you, because I know you would want to chime in with your experience as well, some of these topics. Rob, I think you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have my hand up, and that's why I did that, so I didn't interrupt you. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. This is only thinking out loud, okay? For example, we know that Texas recently had a really bad storm, all kinds of communication problems, and frozen pipes and all kinds of things. Okay, that said, what would it look like? And I'm just talking out loud. I'm just kind of brainstorming. What would it look like if someone, maybe a group, I don't know, on DMR, put together some sort of nationwide social informal check-in net with the intention to do a couple things. Number one, obviously, if there were emergency traffic, share that. The other intention would be to help pass welfare traffic, people are okay kind of thing. And finally, if nothing else, give people a chance to share what the circumstances are in their neighborhood. Does that have any credibility, any credit, that kind of thing?
Well, I'm just kind of wondering if there isn't already something along those lines, because I think the idea sounds very feasible and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm just kind of wondering if anyone knows. So you're talking like a DMR talk group, yeah?
Yeah. It could, doesn't, it might be difficult to go worldwide, but I'm thinking at least national.
Comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay there, Rob. Actually, you see what you said there was exactly the thinking behind a network that we've set up here. Although it's called Delta Victor Caribbean or Digital Voice Caribbean. You see what has happened, Rob, and this was the thinking behind it. While, of course, you said DMR, and the reason that let me just give you a little backdrop on it. I know Robbie has a little hard cutoff, but I know he has some flexibility. So Robbie, I'll indulge you with your flexibility.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Rob. What has happened is that here,
excuse me for a second, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can table this for next time if we want to, because apparently people are running a little out of time, which is entirely okay. I just thought I'd bring it up for the sake of maybe something to put on a list
Rob,
to talk about. That's all.
The thing is that what I want to tell you is that is while we were looking at DMR, okay, and I'll give you a little backdrop to an issue that we thought that we would have done. Now, here in the Caribbean, we have some guys on DMR, some guys on YSF, some guys on D-Star, and so on.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that there are many guys who don't even have equipment. What do they do? Well, this is the solution that we came up with. And we've set up a network called Digital Voice Caribbean. Every single mode could come in on that network, whether it be DMR, whether it be D-Star, whether it be C4FM, they come in on that one network. And if you don't have any equipment, then you could come in also on a free VoIP service known as Peanut. So you have Peanut, D-Star, DMR, and YSF all linked together in one network. So why did we just be while you're advocating for DMR, the fact is that owning equipment is a little bit expensive. So what we did is level the playing field so that any digital voice mode could now access the platform. Back to you there, Rob.
Yeah, it makes good sense, and thank you for the insight on that. Appreciate it.
So that's the thing I like about discussion. Idea germinates, and then maybe we find out that someone has tackled an issue before, and we can incorporate what's been done. So maybe this concept could be further leveraged there. So folks, really interesting. I did not expect us to go the distance of an hour. It's now 9 o'clock, Trinidad and Tobago time, or Atlantic Standard Time. I guess it's 8 p.m. Eastern. I guess Rob, you in Eastern. And we have really spent an hour. This session has been very encouraging, and I suspect we may want to go forward. Based on rally requests, we can utilize the platform, invite persons, and come back here and have a discussion where we share technical topics and maybe even solve some issues along the way. So let's see. Before we wrap up, is there anyone else who wanted to say anything before we close the session?
Just that David, I'll be listening out on Talk Group 969 and Peanut for you when you have when the session is finished.
Yeah, all right, Uncle Dave. All right, Robbie. I just want to say for the short time I get in on what I'm listening or what I heard, it was very interesting. I hope maybe the next time you come up and you have this, I should be in the shack on time to be there earlier to make sure that I get a little more of the topic. But it was interesting. I hope that we get a little more people next time.
Indeed. Thanks a lot, Dev. Thanks a lot, David. I mean, you all had a nice exchange here as well. And well, I know Rob, I guess he's at work there. So it doesn't have to be on a Saturday evening. We can move it around depending. It can be very ad hoc, very relatively short. So in fact, just try up a discussion. Sometimes, when you overplan and overthink something, it's not as impactful. And this really has exceeded my expectation. I thought we just had 1 or 2 people said, hey, I saw the link. But we actually took the hour and went through some stuff. So thanks a lot. Anyone else who wanted to say anything before we close? Thanks a lot, Dad Rob. Yeah. All right. So David, Arnold, yeah, Paula, Jeff, Dev, Rob, and I know we had two other persons. I didn't see them come back in. I have noted as Alice and Wesley. I'm not sure who Alice was, but I know Wesley. So hopefully next time we'll be able to meet those folks and have another tech talk. So folks, again, thanks so much for your participation. Really appreciate it. And I guess we'll catch you on the next edition of Tech Talk. So folks, enjoy the rest of the night, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and take good care. 7-3.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, gentlemen. Good conversation.
Right, Paula. Take care. Have yourselves a good night. And
You
well
too.
done there, Robbie.
Thanks, Paula, and thanks for the encouragement there, Dev. All the best.